Welcome, everyone, to the best sports betting show on the planet, where the goal is very simple. We're going to try and make your bankroll a little bigger today than it was yesterday. We're all going to try and become better handicappers. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy from WagerTalk. Marco is going to be joining us. We're going to go over some more Sweet 16 basketball. Jesse Schule will be going over some more Sweet 16 basketball. We're also going to break down an NBA game, an NHL game, and then Gianni is going to send us into the weekend on a positive note. Yesterday, incredible day of sports. Just a quick recap. Alabama cruises. They cover easily. Game goes over. Florida steamrolls Maryland. Florida covers. The game barely goes over. Duke wins, but Arizona covers. But the game goes over. Texas Tech, exciting comeback win in OT. The game goes over because of overtime. And a little bit later, if we got extra time, we are going to go over the end of the Bulls and Lakers game. If you haven't seen the end of the Bulls-Lakers game, it's out there on social media. I invite you to go watch it real quick. It's only like a 10 to 20-second clip, because later on we want to go over it, because I'm going to make the case that that was the most exciting end to a regular season NBA game that I have ever seen. So it was absolutely fantastic. I invite you to go look at it. All right, we're going to bring in Marco. While we're doing that, guys, everyone, please hit the like button. You guys did great for me yesterday. I really, really appreciate it. Leave us a comment in the comment section and subscribe to the channel as well. Get notified when all of our videos, live and pre-recorded, are broken down. We've got a UFC breakdown video that's up. Let's bring in Marco. Let's start talking about some college basketball. Marco, what's your take on the tournament so far?
Don't bet unders. If you've been betting unders, it's not been good for you, especially yesterday. But a thrilling day with the college basketball. And you talk about the ending to the Chicago Bulls game. How about the ending to Arkansas and Texas Tech? You had a team come back from 16 down and rally and get the win there. And that was a stat. You know, I love whenever they put the stats up on TV, Andy. It's the kiss of death. John Calipari, 35-0 whenever he leads in a tournament game at the half by 6 or more. Well, you know what? I always like to joke, 35-1 ain't bad.
So true.
Well, let's see what we got.
It's like when we're on like big hot streaks and you're like, I'm 9-0 in the NBA. Let's put up a play and go for 10. And you're like, oh no, kiss of death on this one.
Yep. Murphy's Law, but we got a couple good games tonight.
Yeah, let's start off with Ole Miss and Michigan State. To me, this is just a classic Michigan State season and a run into the tournament. They do this every year. It seems like my guess is there's going to be some like kind of unknown guy from Michigan State goes off in this game, or just something weird. Classic Michigan State. How do you see Ole Miss and Michigan State going down?
Well, you know, Tom Izzo, it's the same recipe year after year. He plays a tough out-of-conference schedule in November instead of, you know, scheduling a bunch of cupcakes like so many coaches like to do. He gets his team, you know, tournament ready, you know, so that when March rolls around, they're ready to go. And here they are once again, you know, in the Sweet 16. But I got a problem with this one, Andy. You know that I look at things and I always say that if I am going to side with guys that make lines for a living versus guys that do seedings and pairings and so forth, I'm always going to side with the lines makers. And this line to me is just screaming that they want the average Joe to bet Michigan State in this game. You look at Michigan State, they're the number 2 seed. They've been in, you know, the top 10 all year. You know what Tom Izzo is at this time of the year. And this line is 3.5. All of the betting percentages are on Michigan State. And the line, for the most part, except at you know, 1 or 2 rogue places, has been a solid 3.5. It just doesn't move. And when I see that, I'm generally going to line up on the underdog. Michigan State, 10-1 straight up their last 11 games. But let's be honest, the Big Ten is nowhere near as tough as what the SEC was on a night-to-night basis. And I am going to look at this one. Ole Miss is a senior-laden team. 7 of their top 8 players, based on minutes played per game, are seniors. And when you get to this time of the year, Andy, you want seniors on your roster, especially at the guard position handling the basketball. I think this one comes right down to the wire. And I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the 3.5 and look for another buzzer beater here. To me, again, like I said, it just looks too easy for me to take Michigan State. I'll be interested to see, later in the show when you talk to VR with the steam and stuff where his people are at. But for me, I'm on Ole Miss plus the points.
Yeah, I think you could also make the case maybe Ole Miss is a little bit more battle tested in this tournament. I feel like they've had the tougher games, leading into this. I mean, Michigan State, they're the 2 seed, so they got to beat a 15 seed and a 10 seed. Does that take you take that into account in handicapping, or is that much to do about nothing?
No, I like the teams that had the rougher road. I like teams that were in dogfight games as well, because to me that makes you, battle tested, so that whenever it does come up, you know how to handle a situation at the end of the game. You've already gone through that pressure of the final 2 minutes where every bucket means something. And, obviously, we referenced that Arkansas-Texas Tech game last night. You saw at the end of the game where, Arkansas kind of unraveled whenever, things were, when Texas Tech went on that run. So, I like Ole Miss in this one.
Marco D'Angelo, one of the co-founders of WagerTalk. Love hearing him break down these college basketball games. Let's move on to the next one, Kentucky and Tennessee. How do you break this game down?
Well, you look at this one, Tennessee, they've been one of the top teams, all year long, out of, as we just said, the toughest conference. Oh, they're playing another team out of the SEC. This will be the third meeting, and it's very interesting because although Tennessee was 12-3 straight up over their last 15 games, guess what? They lost to Kentucky both meetings during the regular season. And I know we have the adage about, and it's a myth. I know Ralph's done charts before about it, how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. What I look at is I look at the games on an individual basis. I look at those games and I do the who, what, and where when they played during the regular season. Was there any outliers in those games? And to me, there was an outlier in each of those meetings. And let's start with the first one. The first loss was on January 28th. Kentucky is a 10.5-point underdog, went into Tennessee and beat Tennessee 78-73. So you can say, all right, well, what can you possibly give an outlier out of that one? Well, if you go to the who, what, and where, and the who was, who did they play the game before? What happened? And then who do they play after that? Well, if you look, that game was immediately following when they played Auburn. Auburn was, number 1 team, number 2 team, basically all season long. They played Auburn the game before, and it was a dogfight, 53-51. You've heard me say, and I learned this phrase, from our, good friend, the late Dave Koken, a team can lose a game twice. When you have a big game and it's a tough game, you come up short. A lot of times the team will come back and they'll be flat in that next game. And that was what I felt happened in that meeting against Kentucky. Now let's fast forward to the second meeting. Yeah, Kentucky won again. That one was on their home floor. But look at the stats in that game. Kentucky played as good as you could play. They shot 50% from the field and 50% from three-point range. They were 12 of 24 from 3. Tennessee had an absolute dismal night shooting. They were only 3 of 18 from three-point range. I don't see that kind of outlier happening again for a third time. I made the excuse for the first loss, and they just were ice cold, couldn't shoot the basketball in the ocean in the second meeting. I think Tennessee turns the table in this one. I'll go ahead and take Tennessee. I'll lay the 4.5 with Tennessee. And I'll just want to say one last thing, Andy. This is another thing I like to do sometimes when we're handicapping the games, where I told you I thought the Michigan State line was a little low, begging you to take Michigan State. And this one, I think the line is a little high on Tennessee, begging you to take Kentucky plus the points. Set these two games side by side. Michigan State's ranked. Mississippi isn't. This one, you've got 2 ranked teams, and you've got the favorite laying more, and they lost to this team twice this year. What is that smell that I smell? Is something is fishy here in these two games, and that's why I'm lining up on the dog and the favorite the way I am.
Someone get Dave Mason on the line. We need answers. We demand answers. I want the truth. We can handle the truth. What's going on with these lines? Great breakdowns, Marco. Appreciate that. Let's move to the NBA. Take a look at the Pistons and the Cavs. Man, I would have loved to see Cade Cunningham in this one, but looks like he's going to be ruled out of this one. Mobley looks like a game-time decision. I think we're looking at the total in this game, correct?
Yeah, we are. And we saw the sharps come in right away with that, figuring that Cade Cunningham wasn't going to be there. This line opened up at the three sharpest books here in Vegas that, I look at. It's opened up 231 at all three, 231 and a half at all three places. Within 10 minutes at all three of them, it was, the money was coming in on the under, and now it is settled at 227 and a half, which is a good number for what we're looking at right now with what we're projecting with the lineups. I like the under in this game. The Cavs, they've been one of the best teams all year, okay? They had that 4-game losing streak a week ago. That was when they were on the West Coast. They played 3 of those 4 losses came on that road trip when they played 4 in a row on the road, and those 3 losses coincided with playing 3 games in 4 nights. They went from LA to Sacramento to Phoenix. Never, an easy, road trip there. And so I'm going to dismiss those losses. Now they're back home. They did play last night. So a lot of people sometimes when you play on back-to-back nights, they don't like that situation. And I've always been somebody that said tired teams don't play defense. And that's why during that losing streak, they were giving up a lot of points. But last night, they were able to manage the minutes, even though the game was never really put away for them against San Antonio. It was comfortable for them, and they were able – only one guy had 35 minutes in that. Everybody else was, managed between 19 and 30 minutes, and they played 10 players deep last night to manage those minutes. So they'll be fine tonight, and it's a short road trip, obviously, going from Cleveland to Detroit. This is a series that Cleveland has owned Detroit. They've won 11 in a row against Detroit. But what I'm looking at is the under because I do think they're going to play defense. That's when Cleveland is at their best, is when they're playing defense. And you look at this one, people are going to look at Detroit, see what they scored the last 2 games. Well, I'm sorry. They're not playing New Orleans tonight or San Antonio that plays no defense. They're going to go against a good defense. And history has shown us in this series, going back to 2023, 11 games they've played, these 2 teams. The under is 10-1. I'll ride that streak. I'll go ahead and take the under tonight in this one.
That's a pretty amazing streak. 10-1 is not a short or small sample size for the unders on that one. It does make sense, though. Defensive-oriented teams, defensive-minded coaches. So that makes all the sense in the world. Marco, D'Angelo, I know you've got a 7-day pass with a promo code. Tell us about that.
Yeah, guys, you can pick up 7 days all access. That's everything I release. You're going to get all of my basketball. All baseball started. You'll get baseball. You'll get hockey, NBA along with the college, and you'll get any bonus plays that I have. And, then tomorrow I think there's a big horse race going. Florida Derby goes tomorrow, so I'll probably have something for that for my all-access clients as well as we get ready and closer to the Kentucky Derby. And that's one of the biggest prep races for the Kentucky Derby. 7 days, normally $99. Use coupon code MD77. That's MD77. You'll get 7 days for $77 all plays. And yes, that will include any 5% plays that sell for $35 by themselves, 24-9 on our last 33 5% plays.
Great stuff, Marco. D'Angelo, appreciate it. Good luck on all your plays. And yeah, it's always exciting when we're getting ready for the Kentucky Derby. Marco's on cloud nine. Teddy was on cloud nine yesterday with opening day in MLB. Marco's very excited for the Kentucky Derby coming up. We're going to do a UFC violence parlay later in the show. Also, we have an MLB prop that's interesting. We can talk that one out. It's plus 160. We got an NBA prop as well, but we're going to keep the show rolling with Jesse Schule. We're going to bring in Jesse, talk about some college basketball and some NHL. But listen, I have to ask, it's scary, but you had quite the morning, Jesse. Can you tell us about it? Because this is crazy. This is insane what you just went through.
Well, I drank a few bottles of wine the other night, and at my age, the hangovers last for a couple days. And I started to feel the room spinning and shaking. I thought maybe I had a little bit too bad of a hangover, but it turned out it was an earthquake. 7.7 on the Richter scale. The house was swaying to and fro, back and forth. I told my son, I said, run outside right away. We ran out to the yard, stood in the street. I saw cars rolling down the road and houses shaking. No serious damage. It was a little scary, but no big deal for us. But in Bangkok, 80 people got trapped in a skyscraper that collapsed. So it was a bit of a tragic day for some people in Thailand. Makes you, gives you a bit of pause to see something like that happen.
Well, I'm glad you're safe. Hope everyone else is safe out there. That is quite the crazy story. Let's keep it positive here. Let's talk about some college basketball. We're talking Purdue and Houston. They're going to play about 20 minutes away from where I live. Maybe I might go down and party with some Boilermakers. How do you see this game going, Purdue and Houston?
Well, we can keep it positive if you like betting favorites, but if you're betting dogs in the tournament, there's not much positive to say. So we got Purdue. They went all the way to the final last year, team that's had some success recently, but I don't think they're the same team they were when they went to the final last year. Matt Painter, the head coach, 2-5 against the spread in the Sweet 16. I don't like what I see from this Purdue team. Near the end of the season, they had a 4-game losing streak. They called a players-only meeting. They got back on track. They won a couple games against unranked teams after the players-only meeting. But still, they went into the tournament losers of 6 of their final 9 games. All 4 games against ranked teams, they lost. 3 of those 4 losses were by double digits. And they run into a Houston Cougars team that is one of the best in the country. Excellent defensively. Houston is coming off of a 5-point win over Gonzaga. They opened at 5.5 in that game, so most people that were betting Houston wouldn't have got the cover. But that final score was a little bit misleading. Houston was up 8 at halftime. They were up 11 points with 1:39 to go in the game. If you look at the box score, Houston couldn't hit their free throws at the end. In fact, Houston hit just 50% from the charity stripe in the game, and Gonzaga hit 100%. A bit of an anomaly there. I want to take the free throws at the end out of it. I've seen some crazy endings. How about that Florida-UConn game, 18 points in 40 seconds? I don't want to have anything to do with any of those shenanigans. Let's just take Houston minus 4.5 for the first half. I think they're clearly the better team. Matt Painter in this spot with a lineup that isn't quite as good as it was last year. Don't like their chances.
Yeah, talk about a strange way to get here. High Point and McNeese is their victories, like not exactly getting pushed by some good teams. That has to be a plus. I mean, talk about the difference between Houston and the teams that Purdue has played. This could be a really rude awakening early on, couldn't it?
Yeah, you're right about that. Certainly easy opponents in the first round. And when they have stepped up against better competition, they've been annihilated. Like I said, 3 of their last 4 games against ranked teams that were double-digit losses. But how about Michigan and Auburn, Andy? The WagerTalk office is in Michigan. Some of the big wigs in the company are big Wolverines fans. So I'm not going to come out here and tell everybody to bet against the Wolverines. You got Auburn as a 9-point favorite, total sitting at 154. I think this Auburn team might have peaked too early. There was some warning signs down the stretch. They lost 3 of their final 4 games. They got roughed up by Tennessee in the conference tournament. I'm looking at Auburn. Their leading scorer, Johnny Broom, only 11 points per game in the tournament so far. And I watched him play against Tennessee, and he was favoring his shoulder. They were talking about a bit of a shoulder injury, and I have to wonder, only scoring 11 points per game, is he 100% healthy? And Michigan, Auburn's the better team, but Michigan's been playing like the better team of late. And sometimes it's not about the better team. Sometimes it's about who's been playing better basketball in the moment. I believe it's the Wolverines. I was impressed with their conference tournament victory. And Dusty May, he's been there. He's done that. Can he do it again? I'm not sure if they can get the outright win, but I will take the 9 points because I've seen some warning signs with this Auburn team.
Very, very clever. I see what you're doing there, sucking up to the Michigan office. I get it, Jesse. Very, very well played. I would do the same thing. If I get assigned to talk about a Michigan game, you make the case for Michigan. Absolutely. Jesse's got a really good special coming up, but we got to talk a little NHL here. So the game's going to be on ESPN Plus, Devils and the Jets. Devils kind of stumbling a little bit down the stretch, but how do you see this game going?
Yeah, it's a pretty one-sided game when you look at the numbers. The Devils' leading scorer, Jack Hughes, out of the lineup the last 10 games. They've got a losing record in those 10 games, unsurprisingly. 2 teams trending in opposite directions. Winnipeg's got one of the best home records in all of the NHL. In fact, they've got one of the best records in all of the NHL. They're 1 point behind the Washington Capitals for the President's Trophy. Interesting side note for people that don't follow hockey that closely, Andy. The team that wins the President Trophy almost never wins the Stanley Cup. So very different than most other major sports. The team with the best record very often wins the championship. Doesn't happen that often in hockey. The Jets 26-6 at home. They've won 3 straight home games against the Devils. 5 of the last 7 meetings. It's going to be a heavy price. You see that minus 185. But if you take the 3-way money line, you hope it doesn't go to overtime. It's the only way I can bet this game is to take Winnipeg on the 3-way money line. I don't know what the price is. I'm going to guess it's going to be in the 115 to 120 neighborhood.
Love it, Jesse. You got a lot of great things working out at Sports Memo, and you've got a really, really good promo here. Buy 30 days, but you don't just get one handicapper, you get 2. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this might be my favorite promo ever. There's only 2 handicappers in the world, Andy, that are on both of the 2 most prestigious websites in the world. And I'm talking WagerTalk and Sports Memo. My good buddy Ben Burns asked me to return to Sports Memo to help him promote the YouTube channel. And I'm happy to join him there. And for a limited time, you can go to Sports Memo and get not one, but both of us, 30 days for the price of 1. Ben and I have been friends for a long time. Not a lot of people know that. In 1998, we drove a rented Lincoln Town Car to Las Vegas. Took us 24 hours to get there. We got pulled over 2 or 3 times. We watched Karl Malone and the Jazz battle Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen in that 1998 finals. It was like a scene out of the movie Hangover, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so I can't give you the details.
It does not stay in Vegas anymore. Like, there's too many phones and cameras and pictures. What happens in Vegas?
It's on Twitter
Everybody
now.
just gotta knows what happens in Vegas. That's pretty impressive, Jesse. I listen. This has been one of your best segments. You got to pick Michigan, and then you get to compliment the 2 most prestigious sports betting sites, Sports Memo and Wager Talk. Oh, so well done. So well done. So many brownie points for you, Jesse. Thank you so much. And again, man, crazy morning. I'm really, really happy that you're safe and everything turned out okay. Good luck on your plays. Don't forget to go grab that. 1 handicapper is great, but 2, so much better. 30 days of Jesse and Ben Burns. Jesse, good luck to you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
All right, guys, we're going to bring on Gianni in just a little bit. I promised a violence parlay, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a violence parlay. I believe we hit our peaceful parlay last week, so this is for UFC Mexico takes off tomorrow, and we're going to take a look at two fights I like to not go the distance. First one, Jamal Emmers, Gabriel Miranda. We're taking this one to not go the distance. Gabriel Miranda, probably not that good of a UFC fighter. If he loses this one, he might get cut. He's had 3 UFC fights. All of them have ended early. He has a submission win, and then he's got knocked out twice. Jamal Emmers, his last 2 fights have ended in the first round. Emmers is a big favorite. I think he gets to the chin of Miranda and ends it pretty quick. But if he doesn't, Miranda's got decent enough submission skills that if you could get a takedown on Emmers, I think there could be a submission. But either way, I just don't see how this fight sees the scorecards. And then we're going to go to Drew Dober and Manuel Torres. I'm going to take the under 2.5 rounds. I get a much, much better price. I don't see a world in which this fight lasts very long. You have 2 guys that hit really hard and 2 guys that get knocked out pretty easy. And this is a recipe for a fight to go under 2.5 rounds. First, you got Drew Dober. Listen, the wear and tear of Drew Dober is here. He has 1 win in his last 4 fights, and that win was against a part-time plumber. That's a real thing. He beat a part-time plumber. Other than that, he's been knocked out. His last fight, the doctor had to stop it because he had such a deep cut. And then you got Torres, who in his entire career has been to decision once. Every fight of his is a train wreck in the first round. He has terrible striking defense. He drops his hand. He got knocked out bad by Bahamondes in his last fight. He got dropped twice before he got KO'd. So we're going to take Drew Dober and Emmanuel Torres under 2.5 rounds. We're going to parlay that with Jamal Emmers, and Gabriel Miranda will not go the distance. Okay, I mentioned a baseball prop. This is on DraftKings here. So comment. Let me know if I'm crazy for this one. There is a prop. The Dodgers, the first team to 10 wins, is plus 160. They already have 3 wins. Everyone else has 1. They already have 2-win lead over the rest of MLB. I don't understand why this isn't minus like 200. So they have 2 more games against Detroit. I guess it's because they have 3 games against Atlanta and 3 road games against Philly after that. Those are tough games, but then 3 at Washington and 3 home to the Cubs. This is like the unanimous best team in all of MLB. They already have 3 wins, and we're getting plus 160 on them to be the first team to get to 10 wins. This price really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'll happily take this plus money as a little bit of a sprinkle. I don't know. Maybe they struggle against Atlanta and Philly, but what if they get 3-4 wins out of that series? I think they smoked this one. So yeah, let me know if I'm missing something on this one, because I think that's a great one. And by the way, the next highest team is the Red Sox at plus 900. So the next team is 9-1 to get to 10 wins. I don't know. I just don't see it. NBA prop, Derek Jones Jr. We'll talk about my wardrobe after Derek Jones Jr. Derek Jones Jr. Minus 148. All he needs to do is make 1 3-pointer. Listen, he's made 1 in 5 straight and 11 out of the last 12. He's shooting 48.2% from 3 the last 10 games. He only needs to make 1. He does not need a whole lot of attempts on this one. So I would look for Derek Jones to make 1. All right, so I've gotten a lot of questions and comments about my shirts. Okay, so first off, I went from my hoodies to the collared shirts for 2 reasons. First, it's getting hot. that's the very first reason, is it's getting hot. The second is, I don't know, when I'm a guest, it's a little bit more casual, like you wear the hoodie, but when you're hosting, I feel like you need to bring a little bit more class to the table. So I went ahead with the collared shirt. I like these. I've gotten good feedback, but yes, when I'm on the different videos, yes, I will break back. I will get back to the hoodies. I'd wear them on all the other ones. So, but I appreciate all the comments on the shirts here. So we have now entered the portion of the show where Andy's trying to kill time as Gianni tries to log in. So I have to talk about the NBA game last night, the Bulls and the Lakers. I have seen some insane endings in NBA games. Most of the time they're in playoffs. So I'm making the case that last night, Bulls-Lakers was the greatest ending to a game in the regular season in the NBA. You have the Bulls that are down, but the Lakers have the ball. LeBron throws this completely lazy, ridiculous inbounds pass. Giddey, which, by the way, that trade is working out beautifully for Chicago. Giddey steals it, gets it to Kobe White. White drains the three to go up. Lakers get the ball. They're trying to get the ball to LeBron. Luke instead inbounds it to Reeves. Reeves with a sick layup. Bulls have no timeouts. Giddey inbounds, gets the ball back, shoots it from half court and drains it, and the place goes bonkers. I'm just like, I can't think of a regular season game that was that more exciting. The only one that comes to mind is the Oklahoma City Thunder way back when they played Golden State and Curry hit a monster three at the end. That was when Westbrook and Durant were still there. So that's the only regular season ending I can think that was better. If you guys have any more suggestions for the best ending to an NBA regular season game, I would absolutely love to hear it. So, Dan, can you jump on here real quick?
Yeah, what's up, Andy? So we're waiting for VR. You know, VR is a man who waits for no one. But Gianni will be here soon. So Andy, whenever you hop on here, we always end up seeing a couple comments in the chat as folks who might not know part of Andy's team of plays that you get, which I think is awesome. He has a whole stable of handicappers. I'm his lacrosse guy, right? I'm wearing my lacrosse gear right now, and VR just joined us, so we'll get to him in a second. But play for you tonight, Andy. We'll just hit it for him real quick. It starts at 7:30 Eastern. It's Bucknell versus Lafayette. This Lafayette team always struggles when they're playing in Patriot League, but this year they're coming fresh off of a win against Loyola, Maryland. They have never beaten Loyola, Maryland. They beat them by a goal. I think they got a lot of wind in their sails. It's Alumni Day. What we're doing is we're taking a money line play. We're not laying the 1.5. Lafayette against Bucknell tonight, -135, a little juicy, but I think this thing should be more like -160. I think they get the win tonight. They keep rolling in Patriot League. So an apropos lead-in for our man VR, who will kill the books in cricket and in whatever comes across his desk, is a lacrosse money line play for you. Lafayette -135. It's available at pretty much every book you can find.
Yeah, Dan is part of our crew. We've got cricket action going right now. We are in action in NBA. MLB season is here. The NBA run is incredible, 40-17. We did take a rare loss last night, but we're back into action tonight. We have a 3-month special that is up, wt.buzz/AL. Listen, our job is to make money. I don't really care about betting the exciting games. I'm looking for edges, and that's what we've done. Out of the last 17 months, we have turned a profit in 14 of those, including all 3 months this year. We're going to be profitable again in March. So we're doing a 3-month special. I designed this special specifically for this time of year. It's warming up. Our bankrolls are getting better, so we're celebrating. You get 30% off a 3-month pass. That includes every play from our stable of handicappers. We've got 5 guys working for you. So you're not getting just one handicapper, you're getting 5. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the bankroll. These are plays that we bet with our own money. This is what I use to build my bankroll up. We are up 65 units this year. We were up 127 units last year and 93 units the year before that. So you want long-term success, we can show you that. You want short-term success, we can show you that as well. But don't miss out on these specials. This is a fantastic special to get 3 months of all sports at 30% off, wt.buzz/AL. And it's going to start with a 5% UFC play tomorrow that we have locked and loaded. All right, let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, good to see you. Happy second day of MLB season. Listen, I got to bring up, we talked about the Phillies and the Nationals yesterday. There's a lot of people that are like, I made a great bet because the Phillies won, but took them 10 innings to get it done. I was thinking of you when I saw that, and actually someone left a comment in the comment section. They were like, Johnny was on it, man. Nationals up 1-0 in the game. So I was thinking of you, chuckling to myself about people thinking they made great bets on that, right?
Yeah, I avoided that pitfall. The home dog that I took was Miami, and they were actually losing when I looked at the score. And then I found out this morning they ended up winning 5-4. That was actually my 4%. I just thought that line was just way out of whack. So it was a good first day of baseball, avoiding some of those pitfalls that I know a lot. I told you the Angels were getting bet. That was a huge parlay road favorite that didn't get the money. You got to be caught again in baseball. It's a money line sport. And we just think, you pick the winner, you pick the better team, and you're going to make money. But just like the spread is the great equalizer in point spreads, the money line is the great equalizer in money line bets. And even if you win 2 out of 3, if your average closing line that you're betting is minus 250, you're going to lose money. That's just the bottom line. You could win 2 out of 3 bets and lose money if the money line is higher than the implied win. And that's why you got to be not afraid to take those ugly teams in baseball at times, or take the inferior team if the money line reflects it. I was just looking, forgive me real quick, for the lacrosse play just released, because right now I could bet Kentucky high school basketball. I could bet surfing. I could bet bull riding, handball. I'm looking at, like, cricket, obviously we know, but futsal. What is futsal? F-U-T-S-A-L. They have one in Spain, they have one in Italy, and they have one in Portugal. I could bet darts. I know that's your thing. Here's lacrosse. He said Lafayette, right?
Yes. Dan is fantastic.
Dan
is absolutely fantastic at lacrosse. He really is.
Get some action. I don't know anything about lacrosse, but if that's his sport, those are the kind of markets you could do some damage. Yeah,
he is the king of betting on the most disgusting teams you have ever seen. Like, teams that can barely field a full team, but they're getting 20 goals. And they're going to lose 18-3.
I learned that young. I had the privilege of working for, different betting syndicates. That's how I kind of broke into it. And I wanted the Monday night game. I wanted the Sunday night game. I wanted Thursday night action. And I learned real early on that those aren't where you're going to make your most money, because those aren't where the edges are going to be greatest. It's like right now that we see in college basketball in the tournament, this late in the season, with that much data at the fingertips of odds makers, the lines are really tight, which is why you even see a lot of the betting syndicates disagree with each other once the line moves a little bit. You know what I mean? We saw that in Kentucky and Tennessee. They liked the Kentucky as soon as the line was up, taking it at plus. When it got down to -4, oops, another group comes in, takes Tennessee. The lines are that tight this late in the season, but I'm sure it's not like that in lacrosse. I'm sure it's not like that yet in futsal, whatever that sport is.
You'll appreciate this story. So just real quick, when Camby was still helping make the lines for DraftKings, I had a buddy who he was the baseball guy over at Camby, and in the cubicle next to him, they had the guy who was making lacrosse lines, and he goes, "You got my buddy fired." He goes, whatever your account was that was dropping in these lacrosse plays, my guy who is the cubicle buddy with me, he was like, "You know more than the guy making lines here for Camby, and you got the guy." Dude,
that's why I tell.
I knew you could appreciate that, BR.
I get it asked all the time. Like, they'll recognize me at the casino and stuff like that, and they always ask me, "How do I get into the industry? How do I break into the industry?" And I tell them always the same thing. First, decide what side you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side of the bettor or the house? My recommendation is to be on the side of the house. Your life's going to be a lot easier. You'll have a lot less stressful days. 99.5% of betting accounts are negative lifetime. So my recommendation to you is become a bookmaker. That'll give you the easiest life. All you have to learn is how much credit to give people. You'll make a lot of money. And again, I'm not urging people to do illegal stuff, but I'm just saying that side of the counter is a lot easier than our side of the counter. But if you're going to be on our side of the counter, I highly urge you, if you're just breaking in now, focus on smaller market sports that the sharpest betting syndicates are no longer focusing on, because they can't get down the amount of money they need to based on their bankroll. I had on my podcast real quickly, I know everybody comes for picks, but I do a weekly UFC podcast, The Gambler's Perspective, okay? I bring on different people. I bring on journalists. I brought on fans. I brought on just professional bettors. I brought on the #1 profit winner at Circa. Okay. Since the sports book opened at Circa, this gentleman has won the most amount of money. And he was okay that I shared that information. I knew him here in Vegas forever. Didn't have a social media handle to share. Doesn't have no Instagram. Doesn't have any Twitter or anything like that. But I was asking him about, now, how are you attacking it? And he told me, like where he's at now with his bankroll, he has to wait till late even to bet because he just can't get enough money down early on a lot of the major sports. He said some of their biggest bets, they'll have to bet late in even major sports, and most notably in MMA, because that's what I was talking to him about. And he said, yeah, a lot of times I'm making my bets while they're walking to the octagon, sometimes, an hour before the fights start, because that's when the limits are greater and I could get money down. So I'm willing to give up some of my edge to get more money. And that's how I cover for the edge. Because you could either take advantage of edges and spread your money, bankroll out, bigger edges, spread it out and, make money that way, or big money on smaller edges. And he's like, that's what I have to do. And I was talking to him, how about props? He said, I no longer bet props. What about those other markets you used to destroy, WNBA? Because he used to crush that stuff, the info I used to get from him. And he's like, I don't bet that stuff anymore because I can't get the money down to make it make sense for me to put the work in. So newer guys breaking in, they don't have, 8-figure bankrolls, and they don't have to worry about things like that yet. Find the smaller market. Learn more about it than the odds maker does. You'll make a ton of money. And you'll learn more of how to bet size, how to manage risk. And then once you could do that in one market, you could do it in any market. It's like I tell people with bankroll, if you can't make money with 1,000, you're not going to make it with 100,000. Do yourself the favor. Lose the 1,000 at a time. Don't try to save up the 100 grand and then say, now I'm going to do things the right way. Because if you can't win with a dime, you can't win with 100 dimes. That's what I learned the hard way myself. I say, when I save 20,000, I'll start betting just 1% of my bankroll or something like that. If you can't have that discipline with 1,000, you're not going to have it with 10,000. But getting back to that, I tell them, be a specialist, be a specialist, be a specialist. That's the easiest way for you to actually become plus EV, because you ain't going to beat those guys to NFL, dude. You're just not going to do it. You're not going to beat those guys even in college football, college basketball. The information that they have at their fingertips, the amount of people they have working for them, the algorithms that they have running, it's just so hard to get ahead of these guys and get down, and get good numbers.
Let's talk a little UFC here, Gianni. Our guy Ronaldo Rodriguez. I don't know if you saw, he missed weight today.
No.
And just looked awful. Like our guy did not have a good weight cut, sadly. So we'll see if that fight even takes place based on how he looked this morning. How are we looking at with UFC action before tomorrow's card?
Yeah, and the line doesn't even really reflect it that much. I mean, it is 145 from 150, but it isn't that big of a move that you would think, because usually it will reflect when someone doesn't look all that well. Here's what's sticking out to me right now. I haven't bet it, but I am looking at Manuel Torres over Drew Dober as a dog. I thought that fight is a coin flip. Like, again, if you could give me plus 101, I'll flip that coin with you all day. I know I'll lose a handful of bets, but I know I'm getting the best of it. There's no argument there. As long as the quarter isn't fixed, I know if I'm getting plus 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, I'm making the best bet possible. And I think in Dober and Torres, that is as much of a coin flip as you can get. Yes, Dober has the better strength of schedule, but it's on his losses. Like, he's got more impressive losses. He lost to Makhachev. He lost to, you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't beaten those names, but they're on his resume. So you have that great experience. But trajectory of careers are opposite. Dober's now 36 years old in a lighter weight class. So it's not like you're in the heavyweights where you see some 38, 39, 40-year-olds. He's got, he's now 36, almost 37 years old. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. He's taken a ton of punishment in those losses, meaning he's taken some knockout beatings in those losses. And here comes Manuel Torres, who gets hit a lot less. Like, these guys, it's going to come down to who lands first, but I think it's going to be like who gets hit less. And Dober he blocks punches with his face. I mean, that's how he blocks them. He don't care about using his gloves or getting out of the way. He's going to block them. He'll take one, take 2 to land 1. But you can only do that so long. As you start to get older, the chin's what goes first. You know what I mean? Speed and chin go before anything else. So I think Manuel Torres at plus money, because it's almost there. I think that offers a good bet. And I also thought the Austin Hubbard against Medeiros. I did not think Medeiros is a minus 200 favorite against Austin Hubbard. He doesn't win that fight 2 out of 3 times. So even if Hubbard loses, I got down at a good price where I think my break even is he's got to win 4 out of 10 times. And I thought that was more than fair. I won't call this a coin flip, but I thought it's 55-45 at worst in the favor of Medeiros. The market now reflects that. So at least I was right in which way the market moved. Doesn't mean I'm going to cash a ticket, but I feel comfortable about that. I feel comfortable still about my Godinez bet because I gave her out at minus 190. I told my subscribers you could bet her up to minus 200. I thought if she didn't switch camps, or if this wasn't actually a late notice fight for her, she would be a minus 300 favorite. It's exactly what I said on the UFC podcast. And against Pilastri, she should be a 3-1 favorite. The only bad thing for Godinez is she's coming off back-to-back losses, but Pilastri would lose to both of those girls. She wouldn't beat Dern. She wouldn't beat Jandiroba. So she'd be 0-2 against them as well. And Godinez changed camps. She's from that same camp with Irene Aldana, a couple of those other Mexican girls. Lopez, that hot fighter right now that's fighting Volkanovski. So she comes from a good camp. But because she lost 2, she changed her camp. She's been up in Canada training, so which is good. She's coming off back-to-back losses. She's got experience. So you want something fresh. That's a good sign. I don't think that's a bad sign. And she's going back to Mexico City a week early to acclimate with the high altitude. So I like Godinez, and now she's up to minus 270, 280. So the market reflects that there. And I think Urseg's live, bro. I think Urseg's live against Moreno. I don't think Moreno should be 260. What do you think?
He shouldn't be. It's one of those where he should be minus 260, but I think he wins. I think Moreno's Urseg's just got this. His career trajectory has been so strange. Like you debut against Dvorak, and then a couple fights later you're fighting Pantoja.
For a title?
And I wonder if for a title out of nowhere. And then I
think Moreno wins that, especially if he grapples. He's got to grapple. If he grapples, Urseg's takedown defense isn't there. If he puts him on his back, he wins this fight. But I just don't think he should be that big of a dog. And I get it. Moreno in Mexico City in a main event. What's not to love? But I just think that line's gotten away from people. It opened 185. And if you're betting it now at 260, what were you waiting for? Like, you didn't like him at minus 200? You didn't like him minus 210, minus 220, 230. Now you like him? You waited till 270 to like him? That to me doesn't make sense as a bettor.
I have the under in the Torres Dober fight. I'm with you. I talked about how Dober's one win is against Ricky Glenn, who's a part-time plumber. It's not good. And I also like your Medeiros pick. Fading these older guys from the Ultimate Fighter has been a cash cow. These guys are not ending well there. So I'm with you on Medeiros, and I'm with you 100% all in on Loopy. Before we get going, do you have any take on some of the opening lines? The first 2 games in college basketball. Has there been any action on that? What I see, Florida minus 6.5 and Duke minus 6.5 against Alabama. Anything of note there?
No. Alabama's getting the money. No surprise. It's recency bias. What did we see last? Alabama looked like a killer. They went out there. They put up 100 points. It was the only game people were really watching. People were focusing on Florida and Maryland as well. But what I mean is there were only 2 games on at a time. There wasn't 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. So you're watching them destroy. You're watching them hit 3-pointers. You're watching their athleticism. You're seeing their length. You're seeing that they're capable of beating anybody. So when the line came out, I wasn't surprised to start seeing the public money taking the Alabama side. But keep in mind, it opened 6 and got laid right away. So sharp bettors disagree. And I'm someone that has a future on Alabama. So I would like to see Alabama beat Duke. But that's going to be a tough task. That will be a tough task because they're coming off on one of their best games. Like you can't sustain that. When you're hitting 3-pointers like that, it's unsustainable. I'm hoping they could do it in the short term and do it again against Duke and beat Duke. So my future's alive, but I don't like the kind of game they're coming off of. You're never as good as you look or as bad as you look in any one week. Give a testament to Marco, who always used to remind me of that. So I think Alabama just looked a little bit too good, and I worried because I have that future where I feel better about Auburn because everyone underestimating Auburn. They're betting Michigan tonight. Like Michigan's live. They're money lining Michigan tonight. Like Michigan should beat Auburn. Auburn peaked too early. That's what I keep hearing. That's the narrative. As far as Florida, Texas Tech, this one's a little bit more split. Texas Tech broke some hearts last night, at least of the sharp bettors, because Texas Tech was one of those steam plays, just like BYU. Dave Mason came on, shared the BYU sharp side, shared the Texas Tech sharp side. Neither of those got the money last night, but the public was opposite of the Texas Tech side, and they cashed the ticket. They took the plus money and the plus 7 points or what have you, 5.5, 6, and they got the money. So now you're seeing two-way action with Florida. Nothing sharp either. Nothing on the total really moved. Nothing on the side really moved. It opened 6.5, still sitting 6.5. I think that's a game you want to book. You're going to get good two-way action. I think the line's pretty much right where it should be, where Florida should be about a 6-point favorite over Texas Tech. Both of them offensively top 5. It's defensive side of the ball that Florida's way ahead of them. I barely have Texas Tech top 40 defensively, where I have Florida top 10 defensive team. That's going to be the difference maker. Texas Tech will be able to score with them, but can they stop Florida? That's the problem.
And real quick, Russell wanted me to ask about XRP. The markets are kind of taking a beating recently. I don't know. To me, it seems like we're going to get everything on sale fairly soon, which is always
the recession's coming, bro. All the indicators, just talk to, there's a couple indicators. Strippers in the sex industry tells you first, and over there in England, where the dollar, we get it last, but already in England, the latest report was that the more sex industry workers have gone to their welfare office for food vouchers and stuff, the first time since 2008, and everybody remembers the disaster that happened in 2008. So that's the best indicator, because they get disposable income. Like, people go to strip clubs when they have disposable income. So that's one of a leading indicator. And the other thing is that people are buy now, pay later. That when that started in 2019, the first year, that company that started it, they did $2 billion worth of action. Now they're doing $20 billion worth of action a year. That means people don't have money. And we have the highest default of auto loan not being paid. People are behind 2 months, the highest since 2008. So yeah, the crash should be coming. I wouldn't mess with XRP. Here's where you want to buy XRP if you're looking to get them where it has value. Anything below $1.50, not $1.60, like you want to get about $1.50. You want to get in there at about $1.50, start buying. Hopefully it drops down to about $1 for you. Like, if it gets to that dollar range, that's where you back up the truck. Like, as long as you have a foresight of holding for 3 to 5 years, if you could get in and start buying at $1.50 and dollar cost average down, hope it doesn't go up from $1.50. Hope you get in 20, 30% of your money. And again, this ain't financial advice at all, so don't follow it. But hope this is what I'm doing. I have a buy order at 150. I have a bigger one at 130. I have a bigger one at about 115. And I have the biggest one at about $1. I don't know which ones will fill, but that's how I'm looking. That's how I always do it. I put in limit buys and hope that the market comes to me, not me going to the market. You never want to chase it. That's when you're buying tops and selling bottoms. You want to already have your limit orders and already expect the trade to go against you. So you start backing it up. Like, always expect your trades to go against you, and you'll do just fine. Once you start thinking they're all going to go your way, that's when you get in trouble. Dollar cost average, hold crypto for 3 to 5 years minimum, have that outlook and actually follow through, and you'll do just fine. It's free money. It's the future.
Love it.
People have to think about it.
Love it. Thank you so much, Gianni. That's great. Tell everyone what you have going on. I know you got a super busy weekend here at WagerTalk.
Oh, yeah. I got a package up for MMA. I got a package up for Friday college basketball, coming off a losing day in college basketball. Hope we bounce back. Baseball we have throughout the weekend, and more importantly, in an hour, free steam room. Come through. We'll talk about all the sports going on. We'll talk about the blackjack course, which we've now done 2 classes, and I introduced them to the count they're going to lose. They're going to use, which now putting them on their way. I got them the first week. We focused on the foundation and making them break-even players, how to become a break-even player. Now they're learning how to become a winning player, have the edge in your favor on the game. So I'm having so much fun with that. We'll review year-to-date results and just answer all the questions that you guys have and see if we can make some money in all these markets where we got action this weekend.
Love it. There's nobody like him. You truly are one of a kind, Gianni. Love it so much, and thanks so much, brother. For
best of luck to you this weekend.
I appreciate it. 5% UFC play goes off 3-month special is up at wt.buzz. More importantly, hit that like button, leave us a comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. Good luck on all your plays. Remember to protect those bankrolls. Be conservative with some of the bets. You don't have to bet every single game, especially just because you're watching college basketball. Let's do this again Monday. Hopefully bankrolls are a little bit bigger on Monday than they are today. Good luck on your plays, and we will see everyone later.